There's nothing I want more than to win the World Championship back, for all number of reasons. One of them being that it'd just do to the people what it'd do back to the people that said I could.
Yeah, it does appear, Barry, the last 10 years that really you've been our #1 ambassador in the Grand Prix, in international racing, and there doesn't seem to be anybody to take your place at the moment.
Well, it makes me laugh when they start saying about all young guys coming up and that, and the Great White Hope and this, that and the other. I remember when I was racing and got on the map and I was heralded as the star of tomorrow, the new Mike Hailwood, I'd been out, I rode 125, 250, 350, 500. I used to go out in all those 4 classes at Mallory Park, win all 4 heats and finals. Go out in the 250 race, beat Rodney Gould, Phil Reed, John Cooper, Paul Smart, and in the 350 and that, and then beat Coop in the 500. And then at the end of the day I'd come home and I'd won 5 races. Then I had to do the whole bloody season and the season after that before I sort of got any real recognition as being the man to watch. New talent doesn't need bringing on. If you're any bloody good, you'll get out there and people will notice you because you'll be good. You know, you don't need to wet Nelly people the way that they tend to nowadays and give them 4 brand new bikes and a bloody great transporter. It doesn't hurt you. I went to the first Grand Prix down in Austria in 1971 with 3 bikes in the back of the van, and we stopped in Munich, went on a building site, nicked the diesel, the red diesel out of the cement mixer to get to the racetrack. And I got down there, I had to ride in 3 races to get enough money to cover me to go down there alone. And you speak to blokes now and say, well, I've been offered 500 quid to go to Holland for the weekend, it means I'll only make 250 quid.
Could you ever dream when you were at school, you know, that all this was going to happen? That you're going to be a world motorcycle champion, you're going to run your own business, you're going to fly a helicopter?
No, really. When I was at school, I always was interested in bikes. I used to ride one when I came home from school and that, but when I was 16 and a half years old, I didn't know I was going to be a motorcycle racer. And it was only when I started driving a lorry and I earned enough money to sort of get a bike and that I suddenly realised I was getting into racing. But even then, I still didn't ever dream that it would turn out like it did. And I'd always been fascinated by helicopters. And as far as me, now I fly along sometimes. You'd be talking to the London Control or something, you know, something like that. You're like, blimey, it's me flying my helicopter, I don't believe it. And, yeah, it's a dream come true, really. As far as learning a new circuit is concerned, it's not a difficult thing to do. When you've been racing a long time, you know, you've learned a lot of circuits in your life. You know what to look for, and the first 15 laps that I do of the circuit, I won't be looking where the circuit's going. I should just be cruising around, thinking how the bike is, making sure everything's all right. And then you come in and somebody says, well, what's the bike like in that part of the course? And you say, oh, well, that's that fast right-hander with 4 bumps on the inside and the doodah on the what's it. And you just learn it. It's something I don't even think about. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
You've got a very good record of riding in the rain. I mean, all riders tell me they don't like riding in the rain, but others seem to adapt to it. Is this experience again, or is it perhaps your riding style?
No. I've always gone okay in the rain. I don't like riding in the rain much more than riding 120 degrees of sunshine. But it's racing's racing, and you've got to take it for what it is, and that's you race in England and it pours with blooming rain that's freezing cold at Easter, and you can go to Argentina and race in tropical climate. So it's the same for everybody, so it's up to everybody to adapt. Take Graham Crosby, for example, that says the best 4-stroke rider in the world, and it's wonderful to be able to ride both bikes. If you can ride a motorbike, you should be able to ride any type of motorbike. Riding in the rain, for example, is a very knife-edge thing. You've got to be very close to the limit and understand what the limit is, but also not go to it, because once you lose traction in the rain, once you lose the front end of the bike, for example, in the rain, you've had it. You know, there's nothing you can do to regain it. As far as riding against other riders is concerned, there's some really good ones to ride with. Well, the best rider for me to ride with is Kenny Roberts. I enjoy racing against Kenny because he's sensible. He's definitely not stupid on the racetrack without any doubt whatsoever. You know, I can ride within half a quarter of an inch of Kenny at 160 mile an hour and know full well that he wouldn't do anything silly. You know, wouldn't if it came to a corner with 4 laps to go in a race, and it was a case of one or the other's got a brake, or you're going to run out of road or whatever, then it'd be either he or I that would brake, because common sense would prevail. But you can go with some guys, you can come up the inside of them at a hairpin, outbrake them, they'll see you outbrake them and let the brakes off, you know, which is the dumbest thing in the world you can do, because, you know, you've got a second sense, right? Well, I have anyway. It's called self-preservation, and I go as fast as I want to go, and I don't care if I'm last 4 laps behind. I won't go any faster.
Can you win a world championship back riding like that?
Well, I think so, yeah. In 1976 I won one like it, and in 1977 I won it the same way. Because, you know, all you do at the end of the year is add all the points up, and the bloke that stayed upright the longest and got the most points is going to win the world championship. You know, I don't consider someone good if they keep throwing the bike down the road all the time, crash, 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 crash. It's anybody. I can go out and ride like a bloody lunatic and win a race. I may win one, I may crash in the next one. But unless something goes drastically wrong, you shouldn't throw the thing down the road. There's 2 crashes probably in my racing career that I say that was my fault. It was 1971 at the race of the year at Mallory Park. And I was riding an old 500 twin Suzuki up against Agostini and John Cooper. John was on a 750. I was just trying too hard. I could just trying to achieve something that I couldn't do. One of the bike wasn't quick enough, and the other thing was that Ago and Coop were better riders than I was. So I learned my lesson, really. And then, okay, 1980, I was a totally uncompetitive bike, and I was a long way in front of the other 4 or 5 places in front of the other guys on the same machinery, and I should have had better sense, but I didn't, and I paid the price of losing a finger for it. But, you know, I prefer to be standing upright at the end of the year, and that's that. You know, I've got no paranoia about crashing a motorbike, but I just think it makes a lot more sense to stay on it.
The last 10 years, you've been the #1 man, both on and off the track. You've had to work very hard at that also, haven't you?
Yeah, well, it's not a case of working hard at it. I like, most of the people that go to motorcycle racing are good people and that. If they got a couple of little kids with them, or some lady of 80 years old that's interested in motorbikes, it don't cost you anything to speak to them or be nice to people, and I haven't sort of gone out of my way to do it. It's just something that you enjoy doing. If somebody appreciates your racing and it gives them pleasure, they don't want to find out you're some creep when they actually meet you, or if a kid comes up for an autograph, you turn the bugger off or whatever. I know, well, I wouldn't like it happening to me when I was a kid. So,
but I think you've worked hard at it, especially after a race, when perhaps you're thinking of having a shower, getting your leathers off. I've seen you sitting there for what, 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours until it's pitch black, bloody dark. It's 8 o'clock in the evening. Then you've got a 5-hour drive home, or whatever it is, before you even get anything to eat. And then, but you still can't win, because somebody say, well, do you know, I went up and asked him for his autograph, and he said he was going home, and it was only up past 8, and they forget you've been there since 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, you've been at the racetrack since 6 in the morning, and you still got to get home, get all your transport home and everything, and then go and think about having something to eat.
Yeah, again, in the same context, really, you've done more for motorcycling, I would say anyway, than any other single person, because you've made motorcycling a household name through this sort of promotion and riding.
But the thing is, you see, I do what I want to do, and if motorcycle racing gets publicity along with it, it's good for me and it's good for the motorcycle sport. If people don't like what I do, and 9 cases out of 10 it's outright jealousy, that's all it is, then all I can say is hard luck. You know, it must be a terrible thing to be jealous. I think it's important to have some kind of personality, you know, that's a bit bubbly, not necessarily totally involved with motorcycle racing or whatever. You know, he's singing at some bloody film festival now or whatever it is. Okay, it's a big laugh, he may have a terrible voice, may have a good voice, but at least the guy's got other interests in life, and that's what's important. It's more interesting for a punter sitting at home watching his television, finding out what you do on the morning of a race. You know, what do? Do you give your girlfriend one, or do you get up and have eggs and bacon, or do you throw up, or what do? You know, that's interesting. I'd like to know what McEnroe does.
It can't always be easy running your own team, because I know you help with the mechanical side. You're a team manager. It's almost like you prepare the bike, hang the board out, then get out and ride it.
Well, it's something you're either a good organiser or you're a bad organiser. I enjoy organising things because I know that if I've done it, it's done properly. If it's a big muck-up, then it's one person's fault, it's my fault. I don't have to get somebody to say, look, I told you to do it this way, or do it that way. And the time it takes you to tell somebody to do it, you might as well do it yourself. So it works out fine.
Must be very time-consuming, that.
It is, but I enjoy work. I don't like sitting down doing nothing.
I think it helps with your riding. If you're achieving things off the track, then it makes you ride better.
Well, I think that you can't have channel vision. You know, you've got to... If your whole world revolves around motorbikes, when I say revolves around them, you eat, drink, sleep motorbikes, and you can't talk or think about anything else, and you haven't got the capability of going down and sitting with a company and say, well, look, this is what it can do for you, this is what it can't do, I can do this or do that for you, then if it all goes terribly wrong and you can't race a motorbike anymore, what are you left? You're left with nothing. You're left with a big hole in your life that's unfillable. When I left Suzuki, I thought about it before I did, and I've never ever regretted leaving them. I had a disastrous year in 1980, but psychologically I was a lot happier, and I was completely out of... It got to the stage when I was with Suzuki in the end that I wasn't enjoying racing anymore because of all the backbiting and God knows what went on in the Suzuki camp, so I just got out of it. And they all said it was my fault, even they had a bigger backbiting session they'd ever had before last year.
Some of your rivals, namely Kenny and Randy, have got in some early races at Daytona. Is this an advantage, or do you feel you can go to the line quite okay without a race under your belt?
No, I feel all right. You know, I don't get rusty. You know, it's just like when I get on a bike, you can either ride a bike or you can't. I don't think it takes you 4 or 5 races to warm up or anything. If you get the thing right to start with, you can go out. I raced 3 or 4 years in Venezuela and blew them all away from the word go, and they'd all done Daytona beforehand, so no, it doesn't worry me.
What about Kenny on the other Yamaha? He certainly seemed to be going very well at Daytona until mechanical problems. He's hungry, I think, as hungry as you almost to get that World Championship back.
It's hard to say. You know, he can be as hungry as he likes, but I'm starving.
Difficult for people who ride the ordinary motorcycles on the road to really be able to experience exactly what it is like to ride a 500cc Grand Prix motorcycle. Does it seem that quick, I think, is the question everybody really wants to know.
No, sometimes, you know, you work out the gear and you think, well, yeah, it's doing 178 at the end of the straight. And you think, yes, 178. Anything over about 60 mile an hour it's only figures, it doesn't mean anything, because it's over 60 mile an hour. Over 20 mile an hour, if you hit the floor, you're going to hurt yourself. So the speed doesn't really come into it until something goes wrong. You know, you can be going through a series of bends, 160 mile an hour sweepers in fifth gear or something, and it's lovely, wonderful like that. You get a rabbit run across the road, or you get somebody fall down in front of you, or the thing goes sideways or whatever, and you're offline, and all of a sudden you've got a situation on your hands that you've got to cope with, otherwise it's going to hurt. And then you think, oh God, you know, even at the hairpin at 50 or 60 mile an hour, you come in there and say you brake and the brakes fade, and you're only doing 40 mile an hour, but you're going 20 mile an hour quicker than you need to be going, then it all seems way out of proportion.
What about concentration? We spoke earlier about it, and I must admit I was surprised that you say you think of lots of other things while you're racing.
I think of all kinds of things when I'm racing. You know, I might be going around thinking, right, I'll pass that bloke here, or I'll do that there, or do something, there's a gap there, I'll get through that. And then I can wander off and think, right, on the way home I've got to fly to that beacon or do this. Christ, what did I do in the keys of my car? I wonder if Stephanie's done this or whatever, and then you come back to that situation again and think, yes, okay, here we are, got him, yes, okay, right, back to... And my mind wanders all over the place. One part of my mind wanders over, the other bit's completely on the ball, because if anything goes wrong, you're on it straight away. It's nice, it's great, you know, you've got no one to talk to you. It's perfect. I mean, it's the most enjoyable thing in the world. You ride the motorbike, you're doing what you want to do. There's nobody saying, well, I don't think you should do this, or I don't think you should do that. So think about what you want to think about.
You obviously still enjoy racing motorcycles a great deal.
I do. I enjoy it more now than I did when I first started. I enjoy it as much now as I ever have done, if not more. And that is no word of a lie. I only do it for the money, really. I'm lying. No, I don't. I love it. I really do. Christ, you can't put up with losing fingers, laying in hospital, getting the slagging you get from motorcycle papers and all that sort of stuff, if you didn't enjoy it. One of my best friends, a chap called Piers Forrester, that Piers and I used to live together in London. And we, you know, like a couple of brothers really, used to do everything together. And Piers got killed at Brands Hatch in 1 October. It was the last race of the year. And I came in after the race and I found out Piers got killed, and I sat and I cried my eyes out in the caravan, and I just thought, I want to get out of this place, I want to get home. And people knew that he'd been killed and that, and I came out of there and I'd been crying, and I thought, well shit, I don't give a shit if it was seen I've been crying. And this guy said to me, oh, give us your autograph. I said, look, I don't feel all that good at the moment, and you know, I want to go home. And he said, oh, you miserable bastard, you haven't got any time for us. And I could have got hold of this bloke, and I'm glad I didn't get hold of him, because I'd have gone mad, you know. I just thought, you know, that's just, I can't find words to explain it, you know. I just could have killed the guy, because I thought, you just don't understand sunshine. It's just something that they just can't understand.
Totally. And have you ever thought of giving up?
Never.
Even
Regardless, my friends have been killed, things have gone wrong. I can honestly say, my whole racing career, I've never for 1 second or millisecond thought I've had a gut full of this. Ever.
When are you going to carry on till?
Till I'm ready to stop.
Into paddock. See where everybody is. 8,000 left, off the hill, under the Dunlop sign. Brake, turns down, and round the hairpin bend. Out of the hairpin, turns up, and then round into the kidney. 10,000 left. Coming into the bottom of the kidney now, turns down, right now into 30s, turns down, around 30s away, long bend here, the bottom of the hairpin comes